Hello everybody, and just here and welcome back to Symphogear. A little bit late if you're watching it on Patreon. A couple of days. I had kind of a tough weekend, so to speak, mentally. I got some new, well, not new, but I restarted my meds, and I always get a little wonky when I start doing anything with my brain chemistry. Happens to the best of us. What can I say? If you're watching it on YouTube, however, it should be on time. On Saturday, 16:30 my time, Central Europe, or whatever that time zone is called. Warsaw time zone, I think. I don't know. Time zones are weird. Regardless, today we are watching Symphogear XV, episode 5, if I'm not mistaken, and I am not. We are watching episode 5, and it's going to be interesting. Certainly. Maybe it's my powers of prediction leaving me somehow, or maybe anime is becoming less and less predictable as time goes on, but I'm having trouble seeing what's gonna happen in Oyuki Yumi no Kaina. I'm having trouble seeing what's gonna happen in Benaria Saito-san. I'm having trouble seeing what's going to happen in Symphogear. I think it's actually the latter. I think I simply picked a set of anime this time around that are particularly hard to predict. And I think it goes, well, I wanted to say it goes doubly so for Symphogear, but comparing it to the latest episode of Benaria Saito's and Isekai Niku that I've seen, I don't know what left me more at a loss. The ending of that episode of Benaria Saito-san, or the ending of the previous episode of Symphogear. Not gonna spoil you the other show, but in Symphogear we ended episode 4 on a bunch of feds appearing at the S.O.N.G headquarters, probably certainly sent there by Tsubasa's father. To what end? I don't know, kind of hard to tell. In my opinion, he's just off his rocker, kind of maybe demented or something, I don't know. He certainly shows signs of like Alzheimer's or something, clearly, because he forgot that S.O.N.G has saved the planet, saved the world many a time, and he said, oh, the S.O.N.G can never save the world. Like, dude, were you frozen in carbonite for the past few years and you completely missed out on what's been going on because there is no other explanation? You're either willingly ignorant, demented, or you have amnesia, and there's no, actually none of them makes you a suitable leader. So but of course it's always that kind of people who becomes leaders. Well, not always, but often enough. Often enough for that to be an issue. I'm not entirely clear what exactly is his end goal. Sure, attaining divinity and using that to strengthen Japan's position on the international theater, international scene. But what actually does he intend to do, though? It's not like there's a precedent for a human attaining divinity and coming out of it unscathed. Neither Tiki, nor Adam, nor Hibiki, arguably, are good and proper normal humans. Now, granted, grumpy old fuck isn't necessarily fully human either. That lineage just has it, apparently. He's like, what, 100 years old, over 100 years old, extremely powerful, extremely strong. Yeah. I wonder if they actually have some sort of a divine lineage. Him and Genjiro, that would explain Genjiro's raw power, right? Interesting. Interesting where they're gonna go with it. Is he gonna start, I don't know, a coup d'etat? Maybe he's gonna try to overthrow Japanese government with his divine powers? Is he going to try to declare himself God Emperor of Japan, God Emperor of the world? Wouldn't surprise me. Honestly, people like that usually don't just stick to a single nation. They would rather be the ruler of the world than the ruler of just some tiny little island nation. And who can stand against God, right? If he says, I want America to be mine, then America is his. Nobody can do anything except Godslayer Hibiki. Of course, that's been set up that she's the God Slayer, so should somebody in the future attain divinity, well, Hibiki can always slay them. Or, at least, slay the divinity within them. I think it might be a similar situation to, which one was it? Shulshagana? That's soul-destroying scythe, that it can just destroy the soul without particularly harming the body. Maybe Hibiki can just punch someone in their solar plexus and it's gonna take the wind out of them and the entire divinity with them. Maybe. We'll see about that. What else happened? Of course, Hibiki got another henshin, right, with those scarf arms. I was waiting for that moment ever since I saw that in the opening. Amazing. Just Symphogear finds it within itself to jump the shark and continue jumping it with like every other episode. It's unbelievable, really. And nobody else seems to have gotten a similar henshin. Everybody was like stripped of their outer armor, but nobody really got like, I know, Chris didn't get bows, right? A bow made out of her bows or something. Tsubasa didn't get a sword made of, she wears a hairpin or something, right? She didn't get a sword made out of it, or nothing of that sort happened. They just got stripped out of their outer shell, and seemingly all of that energy floated towards Hibiki. Unclear on that. And there's, of course, our trio of alchemists who are becoming more and more and more sympathetic as time goes on. It's kind of hard to forget the massacre they caused and how they reveled in that massacre, at least the vampire girl did. But that being said, their goal is, oddly enough, a little bit more understandable, a little bit more noble than so far our villains had, right? It was always destroying the world or saving the world in their own twisted way. Those three girls, they just want to be human again. That's it. That makes the goal very grounded and very close, right? We all know humanity more or less. We don't know anything else really. So we can kind of, empathize with, I want to be who I feel like I am, right? I don't want to be someone else. Those kinds of feelings. And I guess it also kind of ties into what I've been mentioning very often for the past seasons, that all the school shenanigans in season 1 really helped ground the stakes, raise those stakes, and ground the story. Because sure, saving the world for umpteenth time is grandiose, but the world being at stake versus Hibiki's friends being at stake, well, the stakes are higher in the latter example. And it's kind of the same here, right? Like, sure, okay, the villain has the goal of destroying the world, that's whatever, like every other villain has that goal. And there are those three who just want to be human again. Interesting how that happens. I'm still unsure whether they will be redeemed or not. Or they will die in their redemption like the previous trio of alchemists did. Will they sacrifice themselves, or will they just be killed, never attaining humanity? Or Will they be killed and turn human in the last moments of their lives, or something like that for, increased dramaticism? I don't know. What I do know is that I've already been talking for 10 minutes. I think it's about time that we just watch this episode, right? How long can you hear me just talking about the previous one? We have episode 5 to watch. And to do that, of course, you will need your subs, and I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on, and you're gonna need subs to follow along, of course, because I don't have picture-in-picture yet. Maybe in the future, we'll see about that. I keep repeating that, and I never even had the time to sit down and turn anything into a PAP. Whatever. Subs, sound, support. If you want to support me monetarily, Patreon throne links in the description below, and if not, share my content, spread the word, it costs you nothing and helps the channel. And now with that, we can start watching episode 5 of Symphogear XV in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, last time on Dragon Ball Z. And of course, Hibiki was about to punch her, but stopped herself because she just wants to talk. Because it's Hibiki. Yeah, exactly. If there's an off chance that they can actually be friends, then Hibiki's gonna take it. There's something there. There's something sprouting. There's something growing. There's a little bit of an idea growing inside of her head. I saw that. This opening really reminds me of Princess Principal opening. At least the beginning. Vocals and visuals both. Okay. What's gonna happen now? Is S.O.N.G gonna become a rogue faction? They're just gonna undock. They're gonna defeat the feds. Then they will undock their submarine and just go rogue? That's an option, for sure. In my honest opinion, every protagonist in a show that runs for a long time eventually has a period where they become rogue, where they become disillusioned with whoever directs them, or they decide that whoever is above them only limits them, right? It's fairly common. So I wonder if that's going to happen. Sure. Okay, and your investigation, of course, will. So what, they have to run every single mission by them? Oh, okay. I mean, they're getting new henshins every second season, so. Of course, she doesn't understand what acquiesced means. I mean, you have Sanpaku eyes and quite a mad smile, so you will certainly try to stir some shit. Okay, so no henshin. Okay, when that guy is in danger and the only thing that can help him, save him, is amalgam, don't you fucking use it. You've been really doing a piss poor job at it, so. Bracer? Bracer. Oh, some Godblade. And I'm assuming you're gonna be the one who wields it. Weren't you the one who sent the Fed? Or other, don't you have the authority to recall them? Okay. And alchemy saved your life, but also turned you into a robot. Yep, yep, yep. Okay. I mean, you are the perfect amalgamation of man and machine. If you look at it that way, I don't think any alchemist would scoff at something like that. Okay. Okay, I mean, thank you for explaining all of it to us. And saved you, so now you are indebted to him. What if, and hear me out, S.O.N.G could provide you with blood? That. What is that? That's ruins of something. Of Carol's thing? Fucking bureaucrats. So pull them out of the investigation. Yes. Yes, actually. Of course, he's the patriarch of our clan. He's the demented old fuck, but yeah, he's a sentinel to the core. So far to the core that he wants to become a god. And that's gonna be your undoing. Fudo's gonna fuck it up before you can mend anything. Fudo's gonna fuck it up. Should have done that from the get-go. Yeah, you're gonna have to put them in motion sooner or later, though. Okay, grounding, grounding. Thumbs up. Yeah. I mean, thankfully, at least your enemies won't attack. They're preoccupied with something else. I am a sword. I need to listen to commands. Sure. Is that what we're gonna see in Zeshoshinai? Some winter retreat? Okay, so advanced VR, essentially. Are we having a day off? Hibiki a party animal? I mean, maybe. Where did you get those? Oh. I mean, kinda. Go somewhere? Just make sure that wherever you go doesn't have many people, because chances are you're gonna be attacked. Okay, I thought they're gonna go to some winter resort or something. But no, they're just spending their time on karaoke and cafes and shopping. That's gonna be sung during the concert, isn't it? She entered sword mode. That's the explanation. Fudo finishes the sword that's worthy of only the best Sentinel, and only Tsubasa can wield it. Good for you, Elf9. Good for you. Everybody else is having an argument, but at least Elf9 has fun. What? She has no feelings. She's a sword. I mean, valid question. I feel like it's not necessarily the same. And suddenly nobody's having fun. And you're gonna be shit at it. Why? Aren't the alchemists preoccupied with forging a sword or whatever they're doing? That's a big one. Looks kinda like pointy Kyogre. Okay, grounded stakes. Thank you very much. You need to fill out paperwork first that can allow you to henshin, actually. That's gonna be an infraction. One more, and we're gonna have to dock your pay, I'm afraid. Is this the first time we're getting Tsubasa's henshin? It is. Oh, that's cool. So her Symphogear is literally made of swords. Yep, everything is made of swords. That's a very powerful transformation to her thing. Usually it was very, like, normal. This was like an explosion. Helplessly into an uncaring oblivion. Doesn't that just about sum up your mindset right now? Hibiki utilizing spinny things? What do you mean unauthorized weapons? Subs? Yeah? Double check. What did I say? That they're gonna be shit at directing the mission? No, do what they tell you to. Okay, perfect. Now double tap them. That was fast. That was really fast. I honestly thought that it's gonna be a drama that continues for at least one more episode. Or that it's gonna lead them to go rogue completely. Okay, the power of aggro. And it was just a mirage or whatever. And she's gonna cause a lot of property damage, and that's gonna be used against them. Okay, so maybe Vampire-chan doesn't only have the power of aggro, but also power of whatchamacallit? Fuck, I forgot the word. Mirage is the closest, so I'm just gonna say Mirage. And that's an office building that has to be condemned. Illusion. Illusion. The power of illusions. And you're going to destroy the water supply to this block. Or you're going to destroy the block. Why should we stop at doing the little destruction if we can do the big destruction? And there goes another office building. Yeah, she's... I'm afraid I have to say that she's unfit for duty. For now. Because she causes just incessant, needless destruction. Yeah. A little incident not long ago that was pretty much an exact repeat of what initially caused her to develop PTSD and the sword persona. And of course, Miku and Elf9 are gonna be kidnapped. And we're cliffhanging, aren't we? Whomst? Oh, this fucker. So he really wanted Elf9. Kidnapping? Or murder? Murder. Jesus Christ. They really couldn't have chosen a more despicable person. That was an ambiguous bloodstream. Was it Miku? Was it someone protecting Miku? I'm weirdly calm about this cliffhanger, honestly. Like, sure, it's a cliffhanger. God damn it is. But I somehow, like, actually find it really hard to believe that they would kill Miku off. And even if they did, then not for long. Like, I'd sooner believe that Genjiro sacrificed himself and Genjiro died, or Hibiki sacrificed herself for the goodness of humanity and just became a god like Madoka, or that any other person really died. But not Miku. Miku is honestly the one and only character that I am 100%, 99% certain is gonna come out of it unscathed. What was that bloodstream, though? Could it be someone just beheaded that... Oh. It was the Fed, wasn't it? He got decapitated because Milark got orders directly from Fudo that the feds are no longer necessary because they no longer have the power because Genjuro got the anti-warrant or whatever, so he's no longer necessary, and they're gonna use Miku and Elf 9 for their own nefarious purposes, so he's just a useless witness. I think that's what happened. I think that's the best explanation, honestly. Yeah, because Fudo doesn't work with those people. I don't think. He's like his own separate third faction. Yeah. I think it was the pervert inspector son that got decapitated. Okay. Okay. Now I talked myself into a good and proper solution. So now I'm calm for the future of Miku. Right, I wanted to note something down. That's Axis, that's Oyukiyomi no Kaina, and that's Symphogear XV. Fudo for just a god sword, but low and behold, only Tsubasa can use it. That's a fairly common trope where the big bad forges a weapon that only the worthy can use, and then his Pikachu surprised face that he's not worthy of using that weapon. Right? It would fit perfectly. Okay. Let's watch it again, shall we? Yes, we shall. Last time on Dragon Ball Z. OP. Yeah, they really couldn't have picked bigger sleazebag to send here. The pedo stash, the Sanpaku eyes, the very high-pitched, irritating voice and manner of speech. Yeah, they really couldn't have picked a worse person to send here. And of course, lots of red tape, lots of documents, lots of bureaucracy, right? Oh, it's an unregistered weapon. Motherfuckers, it didn't bother you when it happened 7 times before that. Now, granted, the song was only established for like the past 2 seasons or so-ish. Really only for the past season, I think, or 2? No, just for the past season. But they did get another henshin, right? Stripping off all their gears and joining them into one. Unless we count when they did that to create those big hands to destroy the Library of Babylon. I don't know. They did get some new henshin though, didn't they? They must have. Regardless, of course they will pick the worst possible moment to audit them. If you have nothing to hide, yeah, we need to be prepared for the unexpected. Of course, they can roam free, but they can't use the super special weapon. Of course. I honestly thought that this is going to continue much longer. There's gonna be a situation where the government is just going to lead to some tragedy that our Symphogear users and our usual S.O.N.G employees could have prevented. Right? Like Hibiki saying, yeah, scan the area again because Alkanoids never appears again. They have to never appears alone. They have to be summoned by an alchemist, and there ain't no fucking alchemists here. So they're hiding somewhere. So rescan the area. And they would have refused, and lo and behold, there are alchemists there, and they create more mayhem, and it could have been prevented, but it wasn't, because government people are absolute dog shit at directing the mission. Right? I was honestly expecting something like that to happen. I was honestly expecting this plot to be continued for a little bit longer, but it was resolved just like that. Interesting how it happened. This is now a sanctum. Since the disaster prevention law was passed, cleanup of special disasters in Japan has been my jurisdiction. In other words, this is now a sanctum where none shall meddle carelessly. Right, because it's some supernatural building. This is Carol's place, isn't it? It is Carol's place. So he's been tasked with cleaning that up, but he's just not gonna. So they're gonna be able to use it as a hideout. Makes perfect sense, actually. The bracer, lots of blood. Okay, we get some backstory for her. Forced robe researcher, and she got turned essentially into her own forced robe. Interesting. Also, kind of weird that in the eyes of the Illuminati, only perfection was worth anything. You could argue she's the perfect machine, right? She is a machine with the mind and the heart of a human. How much closer to perfection can you get as a machine? Assuming they believe that a perfect human body might exist, right? Or human body is already close to perfection. Notice that they don't give themselves like another set of arms or a third eye or some stuff like that. And Adam considered his body perfect, and no, Adam didn't. But Saint Germain, Cagliostro, and Prelati, right? They considered their body perfect, or at least close to perfection. So human body itself is close to perfection. Thus, a machine that mimics human body is a perfect machine. Something's not right in this Illuminati's beliefs. I mean, it's probably just for the sake of the story. They don't need to have coherent and cohesive system of beliefs, for sure, obviously. It just felt like pointing it out that you can't get a machine more perfect than a machine that mimics humans. That raises a question, what happened to Milark and Elsa, though? Were they just being randomly experimented on? What if we give humans dog ears? Hey, does that look perfect to you? I don't know. Pretty far from perfection. Yeah, actually, yeah. I guess we should continue. I don't know. Maybe turning humans into vampires. Does that sound more perfect to you? I mean, worth a shot, right? Maybe we can attain a little bit more perfection if we, I don't know, fangs. Fangs are kind of cool, aren't they? It kind of feels like they were just spitballing ideas. I don't know. There's like, I guess a little bit of a lack of coherence is what I'm trying to say in what the Illuminati were doing. If they were leading research into turning humans into to perfection, why would they alter human body in significant ways, like turning them part werewolf or turning them vampire? And if they were experimenting with attaining perfection by introducing changes to human body, then why use those three completely different offshoots and not give everybody animal ears and then argue about whether horse ears, cat ears, or dog ears are more perfect? Or maybe neither of them are and we should try something else. Then again, we don't know the nature of the experimentation. We don't know the nature of the research. They could have very well been, test subjects for alchemists that were just I don't know, testing ways to just modify a human body, not necessarily achieve perfection, but just modify it. If someone feels that they would be more perfect if they had cat ears, then sure, we now have developed a technology to give you cat ears so that you can feel perfect. Something along those lines, maybe? I don't know, I'm not sure. Our bodies could not be sustained without a supply of special blood. That's actually a very cool system of making sure that you have no escapees from your little complex, at least none that are alive. Right? Tie them to something that only your complex can offer, like super special blood. If they escape, they're not gonna live for long. There was something with a similar theme. I just can't remember what. Some piece of media. I can't remember if it was an anime or a movie or whatever it was, where people were implanted with, I think, like an alien egg or something like that. And every day at the facility, they were given some shot of something that would suppress that egg. And the moment they don't have the suppressant, they just get a chest burster or something just chews through their insides or something like that. Yeah, I just can't remember what it was, and even those details I remember very vaguely. It was something implanted within them, not necessarily an alien, could have been a device, I'm not sure. And they need to get an antidote regularly. Otherwise, that something would activate somehow and kill them somehow. What was it? No, I can't remember. I'm not gonna spend the time trying to figure it out. If that rings any bells for you, do let me know. Down in the comments below, of course, or on Discord. I don't mind. And of course, Fudo appeared before them. In exchange for our assistance with his plan, he's gonna give you blood and materials and stuff. Interesting. Also interesting detail that apparently lacking military power of his own. All this time, I was under the impression that he leads like a powerful faction of the Japanese government or something like that, or in general has a powerful faction. Maybe he leads the Yakuza or something like that. But no, apparently he's just a grumpy old fart with a couple of people wearing suits with him, and his only power is that he's the father of Genjiro and Genjiro's brother and Tsubasa. And literally, his only power is, oh, I am the father, I am the Sentinel, you do what I say. If Genjiro or the other guy just said, yeah, no, what's he gonna do? Apparently, I don't know, maybe he actually has some militia, or maybe he himself is powerful enough to destroy the song, but if so, why the whole song and dance? Why the whole subterfuge? That tells me he's not all that powerful, actually. He could be, I don't know, court-martialed. He could be imprisoned for, I don't know, colluding with the enemy of humanity or whatever. You would find a reason. He suddenly became a little less scary, honestly. Taken appropriate precautions. There are some shady characters on the team with unknown backgrounds. Could it be Fudo? No, I want to believe in the goodness of everybody. Let's not make assumptions. I believe in people... Yatsuhiro. Yeah, you believe in people and that's gonna be your downfall. Honestly. Honestly. Sure, you can believe in people, right? But those people need to give you a reason to believe in them? Kind of deal? Am I wrong in that? So far, Fudo has been acting as nothing, literally nothing but an antagonist. Every chance he gets to be antagonistic, he is antagonistic. Even when not given the chance to be antagonistic, he's gonna call them up, say, hey, yo, fuck you all suck, and just disconnect. Nobody asked for his opinion, nothing really happened, he just felt like saying fuck you to everybody. That's Fudo. What belief can you have in him? What trust can you have towards him? He's been acting unhinged the whole time. Unhinged and authoritarian as fuck. Like, is it just us viewers who see that? Or is Yatsuhiro just as demented as his father? I don't know. The fact that we see those papers here, though, joint US-Japan Lunar Project, second Artemis plan, that's gonna be significant. I know, perhaps Fudo will fuck it up. Probably he will fuck it up. Because, oh, those baka gaijins, we can't let them have joint operations. Nihon #1. That's just Fudo. I'm getting exacerbated again. Just talking about this fucker. At least the WMD incident. Yeah. Nice little bit of grounding. Nice little bit of very grounded stakes. Which even continues later on when... Notice how the huge big event, huge big drama, huge big threat is Miku being in danger. Not the world. Miku. That's what I crave from season 1. Limit the scope just a little bit. Ground it just a little bit. No one here's laid back enough to even think about having fun right now. Sure, you say as you're reading about winter travels. Everybody gives her a side-eye besides Tsubasa, because Tsubasa is a sword and sword doesn't give side-eye. Yeah, this is a very nice moment. Very nice set of scenes that I've been sorely missing from previous seasons. I'm glad we got that little bit of karaoke, that little bit of shopping, that little bit of eating some nice food and stuff like that. Being with friends, with found family, right? Yeah, of course, her PTSD got restarted. This is heart-wrenching. So this is how you spend the day. Oh, this is great. And parents are arguing. Jesus. It's like, literally, a kid goes into like a bouncy castle and just is just having the time of their life. And exits that bouncy castle, dresses up back into their little shoes. How, mother, father, I've been having such a great time, and the parents are fucking arguing at each other's throats. Like, this is the exact situation. Do you know how she feels? Then I would like to say that Hibiki got you there. Sure, Miku. I mean, sure. Apparently, Miku lives with some regrets. She faults herself for what happened to Hibiki. Apparently, that's news to me, honestly. But I guess it does make sense. I'll be issuing the command directives. Yeah. Very impersonal language, of course, right? SG-01, SG-02 doesn't even refer to them by their names. You to run and hide, and we're gonna take care of the noise. Interesting bit that run and hide usually worked, didn't it? Shit's going bad. Hibiki tells her friends to run and hide. They run and hide and they survive. And nothing bad happens to them. Civilians run away from the site of danger and they mostly survive. It's usually been just a storytelling device, I guess you could say, to get those people away. The non-combatants, just get them off the screen. Because if Hibiki and Elf9 were here, stayed here, that would complicate things. So let's just remove them from the scene and come back to them when it's safe, or maybe just in the next scene. We don't even have to acknowledge that they ran away somewhere and hid. We can just cut to everybody being back at S.O.N.G, at their headquarters, and Miku and Elf9 are also there, healthy, unscathed, right? This time around, I also thought it's going to work. I also thought they're just going to run and for them to just be removed. But apparently not. Apparently there's more to it. Tsubasa's henshin. Let's see it. Starts very similar to other henshins. What is that? Oh, that's her pendant thing, isn't it? And she starts with a dagger. First thing she creates is a dagger. And of course, a lot of fire. Interesting choice to not make all of that fire blue. Some of that fire is still blue, but most of it is just yellow and orange, which makes for a nice contrast to blue. The dead eyes, the dead expression, flaming sword, the explosions of fire they're just great. They are actually great. And really add that explosiveness and that dynamic to her henshin. Interesting thing, I guess it could signify an interesting thing, is what I was trying to say. Is initially when Tsubasa was in her I am a sword, I am a sentinel phase, she was very cold about everything, very methodical, very cut and dry. And here there's a lot of explosions, right? Like she's trying to do her form and do the dance with her sword and all of that, and there are just explosions going off everywhere. And when a trigger appears, when she sees that vampire girl, she also explodes. I think it's, again, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it kind of shows that it's just a facade. It's just a play. It's just an act she's putting on of being so calm, because everywhere around in her head explosions are going off. She just doesn't know how to cope with them, doesn't know how to deal with them, so she hides it behind the facade of being a sword, of being a sentinel. Oh, no, that's too far. Spinning shot. Every henshin seems to have one, and I don't mind. Not at all. And singular bird. Her wings. Like, sure, you might be a sword, and there is plenty of swords in this henshin, and then there is this one little tidbit of wings. Something that she learned along the way. I am not a sword, my sword is my wings. And there's that one little bird in her henshin. Everything else is swords. because she's now in sword mode. I wonder. Would be kind of cool if they did that, but I'm not sure if they will. If they gave Tsubasa a different henshin once she gets over whatever ails her. Would be cool. If she got another henshin and if it utilized birds and wings and stuff like that, not so much swords. And if the fire was less explosive, and if her expression was a little different, that would be amazing. But seeing how detailed those henshins are and how much they must have cost, I don't think they will give her another version of this base henshin. Would be cool if they did, but I won't be surprised if they don't. This is a cool visual. Yeah, just forming all those hexagons, assembling. That's a lot of hexagons, by the way. Like petals forming a ball of bandages and then exploding in swords in almost incoherent way. Right? Like, sure, they are kind of placed around her ankle, but there is this little bit like here of just a jumbled mess of swords. That's the way I see it. Very much reminds me of Hibiki's initial first henshin, when the pipes and cables and everything was exploding out of her back or chest, can't remember. I think it was her back. This too seems like an explosion of swords. The most aggressive, the most dynamic, maybe not necessarily, but the most explosive henshin that we've seen so far. Certainly the most aggressive. There's so many abrupt movements, so many explosive movements, and also that little bit of a sense of I guess it's kind of stifling seeing this many things, this many hexagons, this many swords. It's kind of cramped as well. But again, I might be looking a little bit too deep into that with the knowledge of Tsubasa's mental state. Perhaps if I didn't know that she's back into Sentinel mode, I would have interpreted it differently, but I have this knowledge, so I can't just unhave it. I can't unlearn it. Certainly an amazing imagery. The moon behind her. I thought moon is a Shirabe or Kirika. One is the moon, one is the sun. I can never remember who is who. But yeah, I thought moon is one of their attributes, but apparently also Tsubasa's. A lot of swords. And of course the swords fly in and turn into armor. Kinda jumped into my head Muinar's theme song from Arknights. I raise my sword as a shield, turning my soul into steel. Right? Kinda? How did it go? I raise my sword as a shield, turning my soul into steel. Yes, my something may shatter and explode like daggers, but off of me they'll ricochet now and fall like pouring rain. Very much kind of reminiscent of how she steals her soul and covers herself with her swords and uses that facade of a sword as a defensive mechanism. Right? Yeah. Yeah, there is something to it. And of course I skipped too far. And of course, great music in the background. This is cool. This is great. just a brief flash of this like traditional Japanese collage, I guess you could say, kind of reminiscent of Witch World in Madoka. Kinda. And it honestly took me by surprise that this would appear for just a couple of frames and then just go away. And not even go away in a symbolic way where Tsubasa would like slash through it. Right? Oh, the cutesy stuff. No. I'm a sword. Right? In that kind of a symbolic way. I wonder what's the meaning of it. This is another thing that reminds me of Hibiki's first henshin, when all that technology just exploded out of her. Again, all those swords, all those blades just explode out of her earpiece. Out of her ear almost, and form the earpiece. And here as well, the blade forms another bit. System all green. Normal operation. Would be funny if it didn't say normal operation. Or if it said normal operation but with an asterisk. Or something like that. This is, I think, the most explosive and the most dynamic scene of the relic actually transforming. Usually we see the relic, then an impact frame, right? Black and white impact frame, and then mostly just a transformed form. This lasts much longer, has many more frames, and also the flame effects. Okay, there is also impact frame. I thought there might not be, but there's also this blue impact frame. The blue fire. Autumn leaves. And here comes the sword. Swingy, swingy, swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Plenty of smear lines. And she just cut up my monitor. Also, interesting how there are bits of this like blue flame, but they also kind of look like ink stains. Reminds me of like traditional Japanese scrolls that are painted with a brush, and this also looks like ink painted with brush, but it has this blue fiery outline. Yeah, I think it actually is supposed to be ink. Henshin done. And of course her song describes her perfectly as always. On long nights, when all I hear is the falling petals of time, as water flows downhill, so does the life of men ebb away, helplessly into an uncaring oblivion, powerless to save them, my tears run dry, but even grief may be forged into a blade of judgment. I am a sword, my grief is a sword, my emotions are a sword, everything is a sword, everything is a weapon. There is no me, there is no my feelings, there is no my emotions. I will forge all of that into a blade. That's like season 1 Tsubasa squared. This is a warning. You are to refrain from using any unauthorized weapons. If things get hairy, do you want them to fill form AC17 version 2 revision 7 and submit it to you, and then you'll get back to them in 7 work days, and then they will be allowed to use second henshin, or how do you envision it working? Of course, follow your orders. Your combat permit will be revoked and you will be taken into custody. Honestly, everybody just become insubordinate, let them lock all of them up, and watch the fucking city burn as they are locked up, and what, you want me to save the president? I don't have my combat permit. You revoked it. Oh, you want to no, you can't restore it just like that. There's a due process you have to go through, right? There's some, I don't know, you have to make a petition to the government or something. A couple of forms need to be filled. Besides, I'm a criminal. You can't just put a criminal in like government agency, right? It's surely forbidden somewhere. You have to have a clear criminal record to work for the government. And well, I've been taken into custody, so there's only so much I can do, really. I know that they aren't this mean-spirited and that they are very, like, driven to help people, and they would never refuse to help for petty reasons, just to be, well, not for petty reasons, but rather just to be petty. But I would feel vindicated if they did. I would feel so vindicated. You had you thought you had a paper? Well, I have an anti-paper. Haha. You had a court order? Well, I have an anti-court order. But I have an anti-court order shield. But I have an anti-court order shield, anti-shield court order. Yeah, that went incredibly fast. Honestly, I really expected us to continue this plot a little longer. Honestly, this episode felt like at least 2 episodes. Not gonna lie. It didn't feel rushed at the same time, but it felt like at least 2 episodes worth of stuff. I'll never let that tragedy. And of course, she notices Milark, gets immediately charmed and aggroed, and she doesn't even stop to think, oh, there's multiple of her, so maybe none of her are real. No, pure rage just controls her. Her PTSD, sure, her need for vengeance, her need to save people, to avenge all those deaths. And also Milark's power of just aggroing people. Flatface Hibiki. And that just looks like a Kyogre with a beak. Plenty of ass shots on her. And of course, she doesn't even think about collateral damage. Just destroys buildings and what have you willy-nilly. Utilizes fire in her attacks, which is cool. That there is that actual like orange-yellow fire in her attacks now. Sure, you destroyed that Kyogre, but now there is Milark here also, it seems. It's Milark. Big-ass double sword. It really didn't need that second blade. You just wanted to be a little extra. And it's just city scale. It can level a block. And it almost does. Burning Wrath Blade. I mean, it levels a block of flats, but not a block of blocks of flats. So that's good, at least. Impact Frame. The fire melts all the snowmen, chars all the buildings, destroys all the windows and whatnot. And what for? You were chasing an illusion. You really should have picked it up. You really should have. Like, sure, you're running away, but if Hibiki calls you, you really should have picked it up. I'm not gonna say it irks me that she didn't, because she's more preoccupied with other things, namely running away, but at this point, she really should have like a special ringtone for Hibiki or something that bypasses like do not disturb settings on her phone. Because if Hibiki calls you, you pick up because something important's going on. Cornered. My orders were only to secure Elf9. Miku, of course, ever the protector. She really wants to protect people. She really wants to help people, but she's powerless to do so. For how long, I have to wonder. This guy could not be more sleazy if he wanted to be, honestly. That's another reason why I believe that it was him who got decapitated. Slash and blood. Also, the angle matches where he stands. The building on the left. Miku and Elf9 are near the end of the building, and he's near the middle of it. And this is near the middle of the building. There's a lot of wall in this direction still. I wonder. Fudo forges a god sword, which seems to be his goal, or a god blade, at least. I think that was the term used. And I thought that perhaps only Tsubasa can use it, but that sword will be a relic. What if Miku uses it to get Symphogear powers? Miku uses Fudo's god sword. Because he said that sword worthy of a sentinel or something along those lines. Miku fits the description of a sentinel. She's a protector by nature. She's extremely protective. And wants to help. And wants to protect. It's her deepest desire and her biggest regret that she's powerless to do so in many cases. Miku's history is just defending people and protecting people despite not having the strength to do so. Right? In the, what was it, third season? Second? The one with FIS, when the building exploded and Miku was left at the top because Miku and Hibiki had to save a child, right? That was Miku risking her life to save that kid. In season 1 or 2, again, they're kind of a blur. In season 1, when she just rushed out running away just to drive enemies away from a place where someone was hiding, right? The lady from Flower was hiding there, and Miku rushed out to lure the noise away. Her desire to protect Hibiki is what led her to at least partially accepting Shanghai Jing. If she rejected it, I don't think it would have worked with her, but she took it as a chance to save Hibiki, to protect her from the life she's leading. And that's something that drove her as she was controlled by Shanghai Jing, or rather controlled by Ver and wearing Shanghai Jing. Right? I don't want you to fight. I want to stop it all to protect you. That, although Ver had like super linker, not just super linker, but Ver had linker, so he could have packed Miku full of linker, and that's how she became. That's how she was able to use Shanghai Jing. She doesn't necessarily have to be attuned. But what if she is? What if she is? It's not like S.O.N.G has any more relics for other people to use, so it's not like they're searching actively for other attuned. If they were, perhaps Miku would be one of them. I wonder if Miku and Elf9 actually get kidnapped by Milark, they will get kidnapped for Fudo's purposes. I mean, that's plain. That's plain to see. Milark would not, and the Alchemist Trio will not work against Fudo. What use would he have for Elf9 and Miku, though? Other than turning Miku into the perfect Sentinel. If his granddaughter/daughter cannot be the perfect Sentinel, he's gonna create another. Also, wasn't there something about Oni pure heart being accepting of divinity? Fudo certainly knows that his heart is not pure. He knows that divinity will not accept him. Miku, however, well, she's spotless. She's the perfect vessel. Or I got stuck too much again on the whole thing. Relic is Symphogear. There are relics that can be used just like that, right? They don't. Not every relic needs to be turned into a Symphogear. Besides that, we don't have the technology to turn relics into Symphogears. That technology died with Ryoko. But what if Fudo has access to it somehow? That plus the research of all the alchemists on creation of the Faust robes, right? The robot girl, she was like one of the main researchers of Faust robes. Could those technologies be married, like bits and pieces of each technology, to create not a Faust robe, not a Symphogear, but something in between? Add to that the divine factor, right? I don't know. I don't know. What I do know, though, is that this season really is packed. Pretty much every single episode feels like two. Every single episode feels like it's 40 minutes long, at least. Not in a bad way, not in a way where it's, I'm getting bored or something. No. In a way where there is simply so much packed into every single episode that it could easily be two. And yet at the same time, it doesn't feel rushed. Maybe a little bit, maybe at times, right? Like, I would like that drama of S.O.N.G being under government surveillance, government control to continue for at least like one more episode. Because what we got really was problem solution in the span of a single episode. I think that was also my criticism for some previous seasons of Symphogear. that all those bits and pieces of drama aren't given the time to grow, aren't giving time to the viewer to ruminate on them, right? Like right now, as I'm sitting here, I can't start creating theories about how will the song operate under government control, right? Because it's no longer under government control. That's one thing I don't have to wonder about, I don't have to worry about, I don't have to talk about, I don't have to theorize about. So that's one thing that completely went away. I'm not sure how much of a fan of that I am. In general, I like it when any sort of drama like that is resolved quickly, but I'm not sure if it isn't too quickly. Like, I wouldn't like it to continue for like 6 episodes, but resolving it in a matter of a single episode, that's the complete other end of the spectrum. Then again, that kind of allows us to focus on just one punch at the end of an episode, right? Like, right now, I don't have all those other things to worry about. I have only one thing to worry about, only one thing to think about, to theorize about, and that's what's gonna happen to Miku and Elf9. How is Fudo going to use them? Was that the goal, though, or is it just a byproduct of that decision? That's another question. Anything else? Anything else that needs to be said about today's episode? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think I said everything that needed to be said, but just to be sure, I'm going to quickly skim over this episode again. I wonder if that sleazy inspector actually worked for Fudo or not. That's kind of unclear. Maybe he did, because he was familiar with Milark. There's that whole lunar mission. That's gonna be interesting when it happens. But yeah, I think that's it. I don't think I have anything more to say about this episode. But maybe you do. And if you do, then tell me down in the comments below, what did you think of this episode, of my reaction, my theories, stuff like that. No spoilers, of course, please, I beg of you. If you do want to talk spoilers, my Discord is here, also linked in the description. Join it. There's a Symphogear channel where you can discuss spoilers to your heart's content. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, but tell me why so I can improve. Subscribe to the channel somewhere here to be notified of future releases of not only Symphogear XV but also Bendaria Saito-san Isekai Nieku, highly recommend, and Oyuki Yumi no Kaina, similarly highly recommend, and other shows that I'm going to be watching in the future. Support the click the bell also to be notified of my streams, because I also stream sometimes. And support the channel if you want monetarily. Patreon and Throne are linked in the description below, and if you don't want to spend any money, share my content, spread the word, costs you nothing, helps a lot. On Patreon though, for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonal shows like Symphogear, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. And now, with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers. And here's the outro, and here's the list of my current Patreons. And you can be one of them, and you don't need to become a god to do that. Although you will become a little god for me, personally.